Hi there, this is my video about ENTP women, and I had to think about something. I mean, apart from knowing that I'm an ENTP, I also know my big five, and my highest value would be openness to experience, which it is, and I had to think over that when I read an article, and I know it's such an ENFP thing to do, to read articles. But I've done it anyway, because occasionally I do read, and I just realized it reminded me of childhood memories when I was a teenager. We did a test at school. I was a team playing basketball, and we were supposed to count something, and then there was the issue of a gorilla in the room. So obviously I did see the gorilla, because I'm high in openness to experience, and that makes basically you're very much aware of your surroundings. You're an EN personality, you are extroverted and intuitive. Of course I'm high in openness to experience. I think there's a correlation between the big five and the Myers-Briggs, because we are supposed to see everything and the overall pictures. The overall picture, like the eagle eye, we are just high above and look at the overall image, and then only when we're interested in a particular we go deep into it. There are positives and negatives to it, but yeah, I've learned the hard way it is not a good thing with the gorilla and me. I mean, I'm quite proud of, I think it's a good trait to be open to experiences, obviously, because I see the damn gorilla, and it's quite something, isn't it? But I learned the hard way it's not a good way to point that out to others, because I've learned that 10 out of 10 people, 8 people would not see the gorilla, and that's a bit of an issue, because first of all, when you just randomly, as an ENTP woman, high in openness to experience, run up to them and just say, "There's a fucking gorilla in the room," many things can happen, and they're not good, mostly. Either they think you're a total nutcase, because 8 of those 10 people, remember, haven't seen the gorilla. So clearly to them there was no gorilla. So you must be a nutcase, or something else that's not good for you. Like you, depending on how they think, it can be some sort of threat, because mental health disease, other diseases, you see things they don't, you know things they don't, and they do not take well on that. And I've learned that it is a rather dangerous thing to point out the gorilla in the room. So it can be useful, and you know, I'm also high in extraversion, which is really good, because then I would be self-confidently saying, look, there is a gorilla, taken into account that I might be seen as a nutcase. And yeah, but I refrained from that, and I realized it's much better to first quietly evaluate, because I'm open to question myself as well, because people came back to me and said, like, look, you're a mad woman, there is no gorilla. And I took that seriously, because I'm open to experience, also to the experience that I might be a mad woman. And honestly, at this point, everyone has been expecting it, and including myself. So I have to question, has there been a gorilla? And I've just found my ways to accept that I see things other people don't, like gorillas in a room, and yeah, just trying to cautiously evaluate whether there's someone else having seen the gorilla. And then you have to take many things into account, obviously, like, is this just a crazy NFP or ISFP that just wants to be liked by you and just is very high in agreeableness and is like, I've seen the gorilla too, and they haven't seen a gorilla. You know, you need to evaluate these sort of things, and you need to be cautious, because you shall not point out that you've seen a gorilla. I mean, it's really not a good idea. And yeah, also, you know, feeling bullied by having to keep quiet about this. and being very cautious how and when to disclose whether there is a gorilla. First of all, I need to know, was there a gorilla? Is there another person who can be believed, can be trusted that there was a gorilla because they have seen the same thing and they're also not crazy? Is it safe to point out that there is a gorilla? And then obviously a question I sometimes really struggle as an ENTP: does it serve me if I point out there's a gorilla? Or in what way would it serve me? It's clearly something. When I was young, I did this by default, but then clearly people would call me out on being a narcissist, on being a manipulator, a controller, and just a person no one wants to have around, and we want to be liked. And we are a little bit dependent on wanting to be liked. And so we clearly want to behave like someone who wants to be liked, and we want to do people favors for nothing at all. And yeah, it's also part of why we shouldn't point out a gorilla, because some people, they will not be nice to the gorilla, and if they find it. And obviously when I was younger, I was among those people, because one of the most obvious way for an ENTP to find out whether the gorilla is real, and if there's no one around you can trust in having seen the gorilla, you take the baseball bat, go in there yourself, and you hit it with it. And if it bleeds, there's a little bit more proof that it might be a real gorilla. So this is what we would do, just like somehow go to the gorilla and try to do something with it. And if it feels like a gorilla, honestly, I've never touched a gorilla. So say I try not to gaslight or lie or overpromise. I don't know how a gorilla feels like, but I think I can kind of infer how this stroppy hair might feel. So touch it maybe, but yeah, I don't know. It's somewhat funny to think of the baseball bat. I kind of like to hit it with a baseball bat, actually. And yeah, but then you wouldn't, because you want to be nice to it. It's not, also for a fake gorilla, it's not nice to be hit, right? Just to prove that you're there. And so maybe talk to it. Oh yeah, we would do something, clearly, to prove that it's there. Yeah, but for me it's an important question. What can I do with that knowledge that many other people wouldn't perceive? I can go out and write a book about it, like I've seen the gorilla. Or gorilla in a baseball game or something. Yeah, that's the thing with openness to experience. I mostly suffered from having to keep quiet about it, because it might not be advisable to point it out. And it's not even for manipulative reasons, it's really just for self-perseverance or self-preservation, both. Self-preservation, because many people, 8 out of 10, don't react well to this gorilla. And unfortunately that's a fact about humanity. It's a bit sad, really. I mean, I'm not on a nihilistic spectrum yet, but sometimes you need to be realistic.